off in the first section. Again, this is all about time. No second chances here. And making the best of his opportunity is Cody Raisin from Lower Merion. Cody Raisin, the senior from one of the many area schools out of the Philly Metro. Lower Merion, most notably known for being the alma mater of the late, great Kobe Bryant. And one of its current studs, Cody Raisin, has just run the fastest time in the first section of the top-seeded heat. So if his time of 8:11, now that it's been confirmed, if that stands, then he will be the winner in the varsity boys 55-meter hurdles. Let's take a look at our qualifiers, though, for the Invitational once we conclude our second heat. Another win out of lane number 2. Nasir Foster of Imhotep had Jason Eugene of Westbury about 5 lanes to his outside, but Foster from the TEP, the program home to one of our other top sprinters in the nation, Jaden Horton-Mims, who will be running the 200, looking to challenge the Pennsylvania state record tonight. But TEP, as we see with Nasir Foster, have a lot of other diverse talent to their names as well. They've got hurdlers. I saw a lot of their girls warming up in the infield. They come from Philly as well, and they have just taken the second of 4 heats in the varsity boys 55-meter hurdles. 9:28, Nasir Foster's winning time. Let's go back quickly and look at our qualifiers for the finals for the Invitational boys. Shaquan Gordon, Daniel Wright, Trayvon Foster, and Isaiah Washington, as we mentioned. And then Wyatt Gravier, Tyler Burgess, Corey Greenfield, and Iverson Alexandre. This time it's lane 3. So the lane 2 run of luck has run out. But a good run nonetheless by Wanta Obanwan. He's from Hillside, New Jersey, and he is your 3rd and penultimate heat winner in the varsity 55 hurdles. I'm not yet seeing the finalists out there for the 4th section. Now I do. Just 2 athletes in this, both from Pingree School, it looks like, in lanes 3 and 4. Look to be sporting alternate kits, Cooper Goodwin and Andrew Bartoli. Here go the teammates in the center of the track. Who's going to win this inter-squad battle? This is for bragging rights right here. Last hurdle telltale, and it is lane 3, Cooper Goodwin. Junior over freshman Andrew Bartoli. I'll tell you, the 9th grader gave him quite the run for his money there. But Goodwin gets the win. I'd say that was a pretty good win. Come on now, too easy. My producer Jeff Mitchell has just given himself a gentle facepalm. It's okay, we're getting all the puns out of the way early. We are just over 30 minutes into our day. 1 of 2 at the New York International Showcase. And we are about set to begin the oval action with our unseated heats of the boys 3,200-meter run. Our competitors taking some nice stride outs to get their legs loose, get settled in, maybe get a feel for how they're going to be running either in the opening portions when they've got all that free energy or in the closing portions of the race when they've got that burning desire to get to that finish line. Our freshman hurdles are going on the infield. Good win out of lane number 3 that time. In our one and only section, that's Yarema Korkovich. Rondout Valley, so they sweep the freshman 55 hurdles. On the girls' side, it was all about Shauna Whitaker. And on the boys' side, taking the win, Yarema Korkovich. So the hurdles are being removed from the track, and that'll give us a chance to remove ourselves from the infield for a little bit. We're going to be focused on the oval action as our boys in the 3200 are getting ready to go. We've got a very extensive start list with not quite as much time to introduce them all. So if you'd like to view the full list of competitors, they are on milesplit.live under the New York International Showcase tab. One of the many tabs that you should have open on your smartphone, hands-free device, or big screen, as of course you can watch us on the big screen with the Flow Sports app as well. And don't forget to be following us on social media on all platforms at MileSplit and FloTrack. And of course, if you'd like all updates pertinent to this meet in particular, NYIS_showcase on Instagram. So there are a few schools in this race with multiple runners. Saratoga Springs is one of them. They've got the top 2 positions right now. We've also got Ryan Walensky of the Bullis School up there with Walker Chapman from Toga. They go out in a high 32 in the opening lap of 16. Lower Marion, they've also got 3 runners in this. I believe they are wearing the red kits. We're going to get that verified as we go. Official first lap split came through at 32.93 though. So a great opening run by Ryan Walensky, who I got to saw run at the VA Showcase just last week. He wears hip number 6. Walker Chapman from Saratoga creeping up on his outside. And Dylan Leone with his teammate Owen Davis from Lower Marion. They're in the mix as well. Saratoga now running in the 1 and 4 positions, with Walker Chapman now having taken over the lead from Ryan Walensky. And then his teammate Graham Burns looks to be in that mix for second as well. He's at 4th, I believe. So using these couple of opening laps, now about to become 3 to assess our early field of competitors. This is in fact Souderton area's Liam Simpson. He finds a nice convenient window on the inside to make the pass over Walker Chapman of Saratoga Springs. That's not exactly what you'd want to happen if you were Chapman, but perhaps he thought to himself, hey, I don't want to become a sitting duck out here in front, so I'm going to let somebody else do the work, and he's latched right onto the rear coattail of Liam Simpson. They're starting to stretch this field out just a little bit with Walensky in 3rd. By stretch out, just look at the gap now. It's about 5 meters. We'll get to tell in our next wide shot, as now Lower Marion in the dark maroon there moving up. That is Dylan Leone. Perhaps a future employee of Leone Timing, the hosts of the New Balance Nationals meet. Most recently back in Philly. That's where he comes from after all. Our next split by will be 1,000 meters. That'll be 5 of 16 laps. We've had a lot of lean changes earlier on. Very exciting 3,200 meters to start our oval action as we hit the K at right around 3 flat. So it's Pennsylvania running 1 M2 with Souderton's Liam Simpson in 2nd. Walker Chapman has run a lot of distance on the exterior of lane 1 and in lane 2 some as well. He's moving up back into 2nd in the blue and white with that slightly forward lean for Toga. The exterior of lane 1 is a lot better to be in than lane 2, as that still keeps you running close to an even 3,200. It's very rare in any tactical race of any sort that you're going to find yourself running an even 3,200 meter distance when you have to pass guys up around the outside of turns. Sebastian Boutwell of Corning has joined the top 4. He is got that nice flow in black and gold jersey moving up on the outside of the red kit from Souderton, but being held back for the time being. I used the word tactical about a lap or so ago, and I think that is proven to be pretty valid foreshadowing, as we've got upwards of 8 guys in the mix now. Our next time by will be a mile of 2. Luke Albert of Lindenhurst, the Long Islander, is in the mix. He had that horizontal stripe across the front of his kit when you saw him come by. It's been Dylan Leone for nearly the last 800 meters. He took the lead a quarter of the way through the race, and we're about to come through to the halfway point. Some of these guys, per the seedings, have not broken the 10-minute barrier yet on the season. So we'll look to see if they can get there first, as they're on pace. 4:54 through the first 1,600. Still Dylan Leone leading the pack. Our top seed in this is a 9:50.01 by Boutwell, who you see running in third on the inside now. There are a few other guys in the sub-10s for the seedings, but I think we're going to have to keep tabs on just how many guys we can get below that barrier, because right now it could very well be a majority of this field. Leone into the final 7 laps in front with Boutwell and Simpson in second and third. Walker Chapman starting to fall back just a little bit as Luke Albert has made the pass into fourth. Ryan Walensky from Bullis looks eager to take over fifth as well. He does. So not a whole lot to pick and choose here. Leone, the question for him, he has been doing all of the work. Will that come back to bite him in the closing stages of the race? So far, he looks very strong, still keeping his arms nice and acute, trying to breathe in, breathe out, focus on every step as a step forward, having that forward-thinking mindset as he begins his long draw from the finish. The field's starting to spread out, but still within about a 25-meter span are 11 young gentlemen in the first of 2 unseated 3,200-meter varsity heats. One more kilometer, 5 more laps. Dylan Leone from Lower Marion. He's the senior trying to exercise his veteranship, but look out for the junior from Corning, Sebastian Boutwell, whose team is just a couple years removed from back-to-back cross-country state titles, hailing from Section 4 in the Southern Tier. Nice to have them join us here at the home of New York State Track and Field. Sebastian Boutwell has now made it clear that he wants to shoulder the front-running duties, but do not count out the 3 behind. Ryan Walensky is there. Liam Simpson from Souderton area, who initially took the lead from Walker Chapman with that inside window just beyond 600 meters. He is in 5th now. Three laps to go. Now Walensky from Bullis, you hear that applause. That is coming from the Bulldog crowd, who has a lot of top-tier talent in the building. Walensky, just one of those many pieces, but he's been overtaken back by Dylan Leone, who is clearly not shaken by the move by Boutwell just over a lap or 2 ago. Look out as well, though. That's hip number 15. That's Ezekiel Cohen from Fiorello H. LaGuardia. The man out of the PSAL, the city boy, is now into second, chasing down the young man from Bullis School, Ryan Walensky. Walensky's really trying to stretch this thing out, but he cannot shake away just yet from Cohen. Dylan Leone still there on the outside shoulder of Boutwell from Corning. They are coming up to the bell lap, and this is where it is for all of the marbles. Ryan Walensky about shoulder to shoulder, controlling the inside line over Ezekiel Cohen from LaGuardia. And here comes Dylan Leone, the senior from Lower Merion. The veteran in the field storms by on the last lap. We asked the question earlier if he would have enough left in the tank after all of that middle work. He wants that answer to be a resounding yes, but Cohen's got more, Walensky's got more, and Sebastian Boutwell from Corning's got more. Sebastian Boutwell for the win. Boutwell, 9:45.01. We mentioned he was the top seed. He backed up his stock and improved it by 5 seconds. That looked awfully reminiscent of his former teammate, two former teammates, in fact, Gabe and DJ Cornfield, the Cornfield brothers from Corning. They were such tremendous kickers, and it is clear to see that Sebastian Boutwell is following in their footsteps, blazing his own trail here at the New York International Showcase, winning the first oval event of this brand new meet. Dylan Leone was just 600ths behind, and Walensky a 9:46.04 personal best as well. Walensky, he's another youngster in that group. Just a sophomore. So for him to be going as far under 10 as he just did, very impressive feat indeed. Second varsity heat of the 3200 is on the track. Again, still in the unseated. We've got the Invitational 3200 meters to come in a moment. We were forced to get back to action when we did our last schedule preview, so we'll use this time to do that as they get underway with 16 laps and a whole lot of position fighting to come. So, what we've seen so far on the infield, all of our hurdles, finals and prelims for our girls and boys. We've yet to see, of course, our USATF 60 hurdles final that's to come later after the 55-meter invitational finals. But we've also got a whole lot of 55 dashes to happen on the infield as our early leader in section number 2. This is Isaac Leroy from Westbury. His teammate Zach McLean right there in second. Look out for the freshman 55s, followed by the invitational prelims, varsity 55 finals on time. And then, of course, our invitational hurdle finals window, followed by our invitational dash finals window with the 55s and then the USATF 60s to close us out on the infield, leading us up to the 7 o'clock hour. After this, we'll have our unseated section of the girls' 3,200-meter run. After that, our boys' freshman 3,200 will go in one section of 8. After that, the invitational 3,200-meter runners will be our first invitational finals of the day, leading us up to our second on the oval, the distance medley relay. That will be going at approximately 5:50 for the boys, and in between that race and the girls, we'll have a chance to welcome on Sanjay Ayer, our meet founder and director, for a few words of insight on what to expect to come afterwards. The varsity 200s, the USATF girls 400, then 300. Boys will follow the girls in the 3, and then the USATF 200s for both genders to close out that window, leading us up to our final 2 events, being the boys and girls invitational 200-meter dash. That's our track schedule. Again, there is an accessible PDF on the Mile Split National site that you can find under our Meet tab at the New York International Showcase, allowing you to view this at your own leisure if you forgot a few details. So keep that in mind as we go through 800 meters around 2:25. So now it looks like our second man from Westbury is taking the lead. That's Zachary McLean. Third place currently being held down by Eli Keegan of Hackettstown. And then it is Saratoga's Lucas Miller, followed by his teammate in fifth. That looked to be Jackson Shaw.
A close one at the line was taken by lane number 5, Trinity Smith Parks of West Orange.
So McLean, he's really pulling away from this field, not even having hit 1,200 meters. He is lapping competitors. Looks like we've got a new second and third place, as both Eli Keegan and Lucas Miller have moved up to overtake our early leader, Isaac Leroy, who's running in fourth in the dark green. Soon going to come under pressure from Jackson Shaw for his position. Could the Togians link up in 3 and 4 to potentially work back to get at our leader? Last heat we saw Walker Chapman put the early pressure on. Wasn't quite able to hold it throughout the remainder of his 3,200 meter race. So they could be trying a different strategy to try and execute a win or a top finish. Whatever their goal is, we'll see how they execute. Now we've got another new lead change. That's Eli Keegan, the junior from Hackettstown, a 1034 seed. We're going to see what he's capable of once he and or McLean and or Lucas Miller from Saratoga takes us through the first mile split in 100 meters worth of time. It is still Keegan. Miller in second from Saratoga in blue. Does he want to take the lead at the mile mark? Looked like Keegan stuck his shoulder out in front as a move of dominance as he leads them through just below 5:10, so they're on 10:20 pace here. They're going to need a pretty sizable negative split, meaning a faster second half of the race if they're going to want to break the 10-minute barrier in the 2 mile. Namely, they're going to need to break 4:50 for this last mile with a mile already in their legs. So just giving you an idea of what they're capable of and what they could potentially be reaching for as the stars of this heat. Why reach when you're already a star, I say, as Eli Keegan and Lucas Miller battle it out on the front. Jackson Shaw has moved into fourth, trying to chase down Zach McLean. And then it is everybody else scattered throughout the track as Miller wants to get into the front, steadily moves his way up, and Eli Keegan decides to relegate the rail for the time being. But just as we saw with Dylan Leone, who nearly captured the win in the fastest seeded varsity heat, not including invitationals, as we saw from him when he was overtaken, he responded instantly to that move. Keegan is still plenty confident as he has retaken the lead over Miller with less than 6 to go.
Our final section of the freshman 55-meter dash.
Are now starting to weave their way around lapped traffic runners, who again are all racing for their own personal bests, so it's not like a time trial where you'll see them moved out into lane 2 to make room for the leaders. Final kilometer, this is where we're going to see who's got the kicks of steel. Is it Eli Keegan of Hackettstown, New Jersey, or the Saratogian from upstate New York, Lucas Miller?
Will be the boys' freshman 55-meter dash. 6 sections, the final
Keegan,
on time.
we mentioned him as a 1044 seed. That's his only 2 mile of this indoor season, but he's shown that he can go faster outdoors before at 10:29:35. What about Lucas Miller, who is still in second there, the sophomore He's actually run a bit quicker in the indoor circuit himself. Doesn't have any outdoor 3200s to his name, as he mainly runs the 800 mile there. Again, very early stages of his career, but 10:30.58. So he's got the fastest indoor personal best, and that was en route to a full 2 mile run of 10:33.53 at the Refuel with Chocolate Milk Officials Hall of Fame Invitational just 2 weeks ago. So basically we got 10:29 going up against 10:30. You take your pick as we head into the final 3 laps at 8:29. If they can close this last 600 in sub 2 minutes, and they are on pace for their first indoor sub 2:30. 10:30. 2 minutes, 10:30. That's where the confusion stemmed from. A quick pro tip, if you will. Sometimes when you talk a lot, your last thought may carry over into your next thought, and that's what happened there. To all my aspiring announcers out there, one of the best parts about being a track announcer is you get to witness 1-2 battles like this heading into the final 2 laps of our second section of the 3,200 meters. Eli Keegan trying to lengthen his stride, put his spikes into this bouncy bank here at Ocean Breeze, one of the fastest indoor facilities in the world. 300 meters left. Lucas Miller hasn't been shaken just yet. I remember back in cross-country season, he was involved in a thrilling sprint to the finish at his hometown Saratoga meet. So we know he's got some wheels coming home, but he might have to go for time here as Keegan has separated by over 15 meters now. Eli Keegan, he's been saving this all race long. He went out in just below 5:10 at the mile, and he is on pace for a huge negative split, rounding the final bend with all sorts of gears in his reserves, emptying the tank down the straightaway. Eli Keegan from Hackettstown, 10:16. A 13-second lifetime best over the 2 mile 3,200 distance, and Lucas Miller comes in with a PB as well. So that last mile was right around a 5:06, 5:07. That's what I call a negative split right there. Rest of your finishers coming in. Gotta love to see everybody giving it their all in the races within the race. We did have a couple of guys slow up towards the line, perhaps surrendering a position or two. I won't name names, you know who you are if you're watching this back, which, by the way, you will be able to, courtesy of your Mile Split Pro subscription, on the meet page at the New York International Showcase, thanks to our archive team cutting up each and every race for you to watch on demand after it is posted, which should be in just a couple of minutes. So if you like this race, go ahead and get to that meet tab, click on videos, and right there for your viewing pleasure will be the boys 3,200 meter varsity finals 2. That is our conventional title format, but our archiving system is what makes it all happen, thanks to the system that has been built up by years and years of technical work behind the scenes. We got a lot of stars in the building here today at the New York International Showcase. Coming up on our first full hour of coverage. Today expected to be relatively light in terms of volume, just 4 hours and change. But still a lot of quality track and field. I think that's the big takeaway. As we await our final competitor to come through, we've still got our girls to come in the unseated 3,200 meters. Our oval running just a bit behind schedule, so we'll look to get back on track there. In the meantime, here comes our final competitor entering the home straightaway for the final time. And the crowd letting him hear it, and he responds with a sprint. That is Isaac Karchmer from Trevor Day School. In fact, that is hip 17, I think. Jack Tedesco, Pingree School. Unofficial. On screen now, your girls unseated 3,200 meters. And though they are in an unseated category, they are still all eligible for a win. This entire sextet group of 6 runners running 16 laps around. On schedule, we had 9 athletes, and we had a lot from Rondout Valley. I see a couple Rondout jerseys. Look for the Ganders in blue.
On the track now, this is the girls' 3,200-meter run.
So far on the lead, that is Asha Malvani of St. Anne's out of Brooklyn. Hannah Chapin of Rondout Valley has now taken the lead with her teammate Lola Sherwood following her. And then in 4th, it is Abigail McHugh in the red of Owego Free Academy, another school coming over from the Section 4 Southern Tier area.
Layla Marcella of Hackettstown High School. Asha Avani.
You, of course, saw Sebastian Boutwell from Corning, another Section 4 school. The other that we mentioned so far, of course, win the boys 3,200 meters unseated. And so definitely look out for Owego's Abigail McHugh running in 4th. We've also got on the back, Flora Parker Myers from Rondout Valley. And in 5th, our final competitor left to introduce, that's hip number 6, Layla Guarcello of Hackettstown.
Four sections, 4 heats of this 55-meter invitational for the girls.
So the Invitational 55 prelims are going to be going soon for the girls. That's a race that we're going to want to watch to see who makes the finals. For now, we are going to continue to follow the oval action, but just know that we are very likely going to pivot soon. .800 meters in, round 3:01 was the leading clocking for our top runner from Rondout Valley, Hannah Chapin, and her teammate Lola Sherwood. Those two are in a great position because not only do they get to run with each other, but they get to work together. That's part of being on the front with one another. You do this in practice, your easy runs, your warm-ups. They likely got the chance to do a little bit of it before this race. Representing Section 9. From Ulster County. One of the many checkpoints I like to make on my frequent drive down I-87 en route to Staten Island from great upstate New York. I'd say Ulster County is debatable as to whether it's an upstate or downstate county. I'll have to ask the Rondout girls for their opinion on that. Rondout Valley fans, if you're watching, if you got an opinion on whether Ulster County is an upstate or downstate New York, go ahead and tweet us at MileSplitter FloTrack, and we'll heed your thoughts from there. If you'd like to follow along with some of our New York sites' social content, in addition to the New York International Showcase content on their media page. Our Alexandra Thomas is on the ground. She'll be interviewing our Invitational winners. She's been really killing it in her first few weeks with Mile Split New York. She debuted at the Holiday Festival and has not looked back since, so definitely be sure to follow along on milesplit_NY. And if you'd like to follow me as well, I'm on Instagram at Carson Gabbaro, no period, spaces, or underscores. That's me, the voice of the New York International Showcase. All the visuals being brought courtesy of my crew. They're the ones doing the real work. And I will take every opportunity I can to give them some credit. Our Rondout Valley girls deserve a lot of credit, too, because though they get each other to work off of, that's really all they've got. You know, you ever see those football huddle moments where Richard Sherman's got the Legion of Boom together? We all we got, we all we need. That's them right now. They're all they've got, and they're all that they need. And they're trying to prove it by chasing after some fast times coming up to the first mile split. Hannah Chapin and Lola Sherwood are going to want to give themselves a chance to go close to 12 flat, as that would be quicker than the fastest seed. 12:05 is Chapin's seed. She comes through 6:04 for her first mile, with Sherwood at 6:08, roughly 6:07 high. So they're on pace for some pretty low 12s. Sherwood's on personal best pace down from her 12:20 seed, and Chapin is going to need a 6 flat if she wants to PR from her 12:05 seed. So much for the we all we got, we all we need, as Chapin has made this her own race. Just looking at her on that latest backstretch, I could tell she had a bit of a surge in her. Now the question is, how is she going to judge the distance from here? She's still got 7 laps, 1,400 meters to go. Looking over at her watch, that's definitely one luxury that she'll have to work with. That latest lap of hers had to have been below 45, which is what she had been running leading up to it. And it was 44:40. So she's picking it up. If she keeps up with the 44s, then she's going to break 6 minutes for her last mile, as 45 seconds even gets you to 6 minutes for 1,600 meters. Giving you a sense of what's to come on the infield as we teased it to you, we're going to be looking out for the Invitational infield prelims. Those for the girls 55 were scheduled to go at 5:20, so they have a little bit of time to get their spikes beneath them. We're going to continue with our unseated girls in the 3,200 before we welcome on our boys in the Frosh 3,200. That should take us up to around 5:25 for the Invitational 2 mile. So we won't exactly have the utmost time now that I bring up the schedule to absorb the prelims for the Invitational 55s. So we're going to do what we can there to keep full coverage. Sanjay Ayer did say in a great interview that I recommend you watch on the Final Leg podcast on YouTube, hosted by Anderson Emerald, who's in the building. Sanjay said that he really desired a meet environment in which things were happening at all times, a fast-paced meet environment. That's what he wanted to give athletes from all corners of the world. We've got, as I said, field event action occurring, the pole vault, the long jump. We've even got a little bit of action in the throwing cages as well. So with all that happening and the oval with the distance running, the sprinters to come soon. All of the action happening at once. Hannah Chapin with less than 3 to go. She was just below 950 with 600 meters remaining, so she's going to need to run some average per lap paces in the low 40s. We'll see what kind of sprint she has left in her if she wants to get close to a sub 12. By low 40s, I mean roughly 43.3 repeating decimal. And she's been running 44s and 45s, so this is where she's going to start to lighten up. You can tell once she came off that curve, she put a little bit of a surge into her stride. 10:34 with 200 meters to go. 2 laps to go, rather, 400 meters to go. Hannah Chapin needing back-to-back 43s now. That latest lap, she picked it up from a 45.8 to a 45.18. Ever so slightly winding it up. 300 meters. All about Hannah versus the clock right now. Could she be in for a sub 12? Your Varsity 3,200 meters. The winner is just about decided, as she's lapped about every competitor. And boy, oh boy, is she now on pace for sub 12. She came through at around 11:13, 11:14, meaning her latest lap was much quicker. 100 meters to go for Chapin. Oh yeah, she's gonna break 12 by a huge margin. Remember, she took this out in a 6:04. We thought the boys put on a negative split. Oh, how about Hannah Chapin? The Invitational 55 meters is underway as Peyton Payne takes the win in a sprint to the line, but that was off of fresh legs, as 11:52 looked to be the clocking for Hannah Chapin to win the girls' 3,200 meter run varsity section. That was a negative split of epic proportion. 6:04 for the first mile, coming home in sub 5:50. 11:53.40 the official time. That last mile was a 4:49. So they did release the 55-meter Invitational prelim 1 of 3 a little bit early. In fact, there are 4 Invitational prelims, so we've still got 3 to witness with you as the crowd gets into the latter stages of the girls' 32. Man, what a close. We said she needed back-to-back 43s. She averaged 39 seconds for her last 2 laps. Hannah Chapin, the second-place finisher, just crossed, and that was her teammate, Sherwood. Lola Sherwood. But let's catch up with that first heat of the Invitational 55. That was Peyton Payne, who ran 6:89. She's the U.S. number 2 athlete over 60 meters. And she's run pretty quick over the 55 as well. Looking at what she's done over the slightly shorter distance, she comes in at U.S. number 4 at 6:87. So just off of her season personal best is the senior future Florida Gator from Bullis, who I had a chance to talk to last night in our opening presser. Be sure to check that out on our website, our YouTube. Second heat on the track now. They're getting a few practice start opportunities. They've got them on the line. Kendall Nelson from Cheltenham, Cassidy Hopkins of the Bullis School was our top qualifier in the hurdles. Corbin Raston of West Orange, Ryan Jennings of Timber Creek. She's running out of lane number 4. She's gone sub 7 as well. The future Arkansas Razorback. Jadine Batchelor of Hillside, Kaylee McIntyre of Spire, and Jalen Smith. But it's all Ryan Jennings Remember that green line is the 55-meter finish. Ryan Jennings in that dark blue for Timber Creek with the big block letters on the front there. The future SEC product, showing what she's all about. We saw her win at the Ocean Breeze Freedom Games very nicely as we get a look at our freshman boys in the 3200 in between prelims as we await that time that Jennings just clocked. 6:99, her season and personal best. Jadine Batchelor of Hillside, another one to watch in this. Coming over from Hillside.
On the oval, this is the freshman 3200-meter run. Ryan McDonough, Sergeant area, leading the charge up front in the red.
She's a senior, 7:14 coming in. Still no official times as we focus on the freshman 32. We've still got 2 prelims left for the 55s for the girls' invitational, so waiting to see what happens in the second as the third gets ready to go. Currently leading in the boys' freshman 32. We got 2 twins from Souderton on schedule on the lead. As it looks like Christopher Tom of Bronxside has taken the lead, but Ryan McDonough and his twin Owen are factoring very nicely thus far as well. Girls, 55 prelim, 3 of 4 in the invitational sections. Nia Nelson of St. Anne's, the lone scratch. Murillo, Dickens, Martinez, Zborowski, Dearman, Hulsey, and Barger. Katrina Zborowski, the future Buffalo Bull from Ballston Spa. The first time we're able to say that live on camera as she made her commitment this past week to join the Bulls. The school record holder for Ballston Spa at 7:13. How fast did she go in her prelim? I'll tell you, she had a great finish. We're used to seeing her start fast, but at finish, she really put it together on the latter stages of that race and will give herself a chance to run even quicker in the final. We still don't have an official result from section number 2 as our top McDonough twin holding the lead. It is 1-3 for the McDonough twins from Souderton and Christopher Tom of Bronxside in second. Keep in mind, we've got a lot to figure out in terms of who makes that final based on what we know right now. Our bubble time heading into the second heat was 7:61 by Leah Williams of Bayshore. The Marauders joining us from Long Island. So just one prelim remaining for those wondering what's happening next. They're being called into their starting blocks. We'll worry about times later as our live results crew is doing all the dirty work. In our field of view right now, we've got Taya Mack of Spire from lanes 1 to 8, to Shia Skinner of Carroll. Her teammate Naima Solomon in 3. Rohanna Sudlow from St. Catherine in Jamaica, their national long jump champion. Sydney Sutton from Bullis. She's in 5. Talia Mellerson of Carroll, 6. Madison Johnson, Springford, 7. And Tammy Ellis of Winslow Township is on the outside at 8. Look at the closing speed by the future Florida Gator, Sydney Sutton. Little hop step over that mat. She had a lot of ground to make up out of lane number 5. Rohanna Sudlow from St. Catherine, Jamaica got the best start, but Sutton rallied to get a top 2 finish and should give herself a chance at the very least to make the final. She was with Peyton Payne, her teammate, who had the fastest qualifying time of 6:89 in our mini pre-race press conference last night. And she said, Peyton that is, that Sydney had been asking her a lot to help her with the start. There are future teammates, after all, at Florida, so you would only expect that to that call for help, Peyton would rise to the occasion. And even though the start was not the most prominent part of Sydney's race just there, she definitely dialed up a great deal of explosiveness to come through with the win in 7:13, now confirmed. Sudlow in second at 7:15. It looks like our official finalists have been determined. They've gotten the times loaded in, and our top 8: Katrina Zborowski, Courtney Raston, Kennedy Brown from Bullis, Rohanna Sudlow of St. Catherine, Sydney Sutton of the Bullis School, she was the 3rd fastest qualifier, and Ryan Jennings of Timber Creek, and Peyton Payne with a huge margin. Jennings was at 7:03, just 400ths off of her PR, but Payne at 6:89. Nobody else in the field has gone sub 6:9 thus far. So Payne, the future Florida Gator, giving herself a great shot to win Invitational 55-meter dash if she can execute in the finals. Freshman 32 continues to be held by the scruff of the neck by Ryan McDonough. Christopher Tom at Bronx side, then Owen McDonough, followed by 2 teammates from John Jay campus from Brooklyn, Jonah Campbell and Daniel Canetti. We'll look out for them, but we'll also look out for the boys in the 55-meter invitational on the infield next. This is our first of 4 prelims in our latest event. We're going to see who makes that final. Look out for Jamal Stevenson from Calabar. He's in the center of the track. He ran 10:43 recently over the 100, and even with 45 less meters, he's got plenty of raw speed. Jamal Stevenson. When you want to look out for Calabar, just look out for that dark green and look out for the speed as well. As I mentioned, arguably the most extensive history at the Jamaican High School National Championships. We know what they've done at the 4x4s, at the Penn Relays, and other settings of international caliber, and already stamping their mark with 2 dominant prelims, first by Shaquan Gordon in the high hurdles, and now over the dash, Jamal Stevenson. His official time, a 6:35. Section number 2 is getting in its blocks as we continue to watch the chase for the line. Clock currently at 8:50 in the boys' 3,200 meters for freshmen. Ryan McDonough, there's his twin, Owen McDonough. I know it's not easy to keep tabs on which one's in front, but McDonough, Owen, that is, has the 3, and Ryan on your screen now has the 7. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about some of our international talents coming, once again shout out the New York International Showcase Instagram pages. They've got plenty of information about each entrant, and one with a great boatload of accolades to bring to Ocean Breeze is the man in lane 4, Johan Romaldo Smythe. Look out for him from Machette. Andrew Jeremiah Bawakye from Bergen Catholic is the lone scratch in lane number 5, leaving his teammate Nicholas Shortridge in lane number 3, the closest seat to challenge Smythe in 4. He had a bit of a stutter in anticipation of the gun, and Shortridge got a better start, but Smythe with a closing speed will take section number 2, just ahead of Julian Onesti of St. Augustine Prep and Nicholas Shortridge of Bergen Catholic. Looking at Smythe, though, He'll be competing in the 60 meters as well tomorrow, as there's the kick by Ryan McDonough. His hip number flew off his chest plate, so that just goes to show you how fiercely he was kicking. 10:18:45. But back to Johan Ronaldo Smythe. He is the reigning gold medalist at Champs for Class 2 boys 200 meters. So knowing that he has experience over the longer sprints as well has to give him a lot of confidence about still being able to make the finals and win your prelim despite not having the fastest start. Our third section getting a chance for its final few practice starts in the boys 55-meter invitational. And many of them are halfway down the infield strip right now, so that's why it looks as though there's only 4 athletes in the race, but there are not. There are more. Current bubble time, if we take a look, again, it's top 8 that advance. And our current bubble is held by Apollo Simmons of Westbury, 6:69 out of the second heat. And man, Clayton Gary of Sidwell Friends, he's going to get the short end of the stick, as he was also at 6:69, as well as Nicholas Shortridge, who took home the 5th place position in the second heat. 2 6:69s missing out on the final thus far based on the 1,000th conversion. And assuming somebody goes faster in this heat, that bubble could very well increase. We've got Jonah Flournoy, Yusuf Shabazz, Carell Clement, Connor Salmon for Bullis, former Bullis Bulldog Terrence Mahomes, Amir Woodward, Brian Porter, and Shahid Demetrius. A full stack of 8. Connor Salmon, the best start and the best finish. Mahomes with a strong rally from West Orange. But Connor Salmon, you've got to love what you've just seen from him, as he is coming off of a bittersweet, perhaps, VA showcase in which he false started in his 55-meter prelim, but came back to lead off the Bullis Bulldog national record-setting sprint medley relay. We'll expect to see him back in the 200 meters as well, but a good run in the 55 to show that he can stay settled in his blocks and execute on the day. Connor Salmon in his first season in a Bullis uniform. Definitely making his opportunities count. He was a 4-star football recruit, for those of you that didn't pick up on that tidbit on him from the VA showcase that I mentioned. He was recruited from Woodgrove, Virginia, just showcasing the extensive outreach that Coach Joe Lee's program has. But now we've got our first oval invitational event getting on the line as we get set on the start line for the 3,200 meters. The dual waterfall start with still 1 prelim to go on the infield for the 55. We will keep watch of that off screen, but this is going to be a really exciting race because we've got a couple of pairs of high contending teammates and another of twins. That's just a general overview. There's a lot more to this race than that. But we've also got some national rankings up for grabs as well, perhaps. Let's have some fun. Over the next 16 laps, they are away. 4 Saratogians in this heat, 2 of which were in the New York number 3 setting race at the Ocean Breeze Freedom Games. Our fastest finisher there was Darren Pasick, who is, as I said, the 3rd fastest in the state over 3,200 meters with his indoor personal best time set at OBFG, that being a 9:18. So he's shaping up nicely in the indoor season. His teammate Thomas Eisenowski takes it up. That was his season opener at Freedom Games. He won in 2023 and ran as well in 2024/5. If you think about the start of the indoor season, just overviewing who we've got, it's looking to be a pretty tactical start as they're bunching up on the far side. it'll be easier to tell just how tactical once we see our 400 split. Isanovsky with firm control of the lead. Look out for the man in second. That's Nicholas Mazzeo with his twin Alex right behind him, around 68-69 through 400. So this is a definitely tactical start as they're well outside of 430 pace through the first 400. So that pair of twins I mentioned, Nicholas and Alexander Mazzeo from Lower Merion, they were two to watch as Nick has the fastest lifetime best all-purpose over 2 miles / 3,200 at 9:04 flat. Alex has gone 9:16 over a full 2 miles as well, so don't discount him. The Toga boys, they're right around that same top threshold for their personal capabilities as we saw it. Pasek go 9:04.23, loosening his arms in fourth. The future Columbia Lion at the New York State Meet Outdoors. He made the podium in that event. Isanovsky ran his personal best of 9:05 then. And although it was a bit of a rough season start by his standards, he's been working his way back. He's dropped indoor personal bests in the full mile of 425.96 and even a 234 over the 1,000 meters. That'll be our next split, as it was around a 2:16.17 through 3,200 meters. 1/4 of 32, that is, 800 meters. Isanovsky, the New York cross-country regional runner-up, going to take us through our first kilometer at 2:52 high. Thomas had quite the enticing cross-country season to follow. I touched on it a little bit in the earlier stages of our Freedoms Games race, but to expand upon that, he started out as really the clear and emergent front runner for the Saratoga distance program that was coming off of a season in which it won the New York State meet for the 5th time in program history. The Blue Streaks, their team fortunes were not the same as last year. They had encountered injuries. Darren Pasek knows a thing or two about that. He had to spend quite a lot of time on a bike. Had to sit a lot of races out to get fresh for sectionals to ultimately qualify him for the state meet. But there were only 3 Saratogians, including Owen Blaisdell and Isanovsky himself, that advanced instead of the septet that took it all the way to VVS for the title in 2023. And so Thomas really had to focus a lot more on himself than in previous years as a freshman and sophomore. Now a junior, he's really become a role model to a lot of the younger runners, like Lucas Miller, who we saw take second in the unseated race, like Walker Chapman, who we saw as well, Graham Burns, and even further back in this pack to guys like Atman Karoum and Josh Nix. With the Mazzeo twins, just having gotten to cover all various twins in the sport of running, you'd have to think that they're inspirations to each other. As Nick and Alex running in 2 and 3 behind Isanovsky through in 4:36. So though it may have seemed like a tactical start, they have kept the quarter splits consistent. Right around 68-69 through the first 400 and keeping that average down pat through each quarter that has ensued. So 4:36, we're going to be seeing some quick 2 miles just given the fact that there are 4 guys still on the front group with a 5th trailer not too far behind. It's a Saratogian sandwich of Isanovsky and Pasek, and in between them the Mazzeo twins from Lower Merion. Also look out for hip number 13 that looks to be in 5th, Teddy Hodglow from the Brunswick School. He came in having a pretty hefty seed time to his name in the realm of these top guys, but his personal best, he's never officially broken 9:30 in the 2 mile. Thomas Isanovsky and the rest of the top 4 have, and this is where we're going to see who has the ultimate strength to last off of that 4:36 pace. The most direct look that we've gotten of a 2 mile race by Thomas Isanovsky was last year's Freedom Games after all, and he was through around in the 440s as he came from behind to catch up to Trent Tebow, another strong junior from Lansing out of New York's Southern Tier, to get the win in 9:19, which at the time was a near 40-second personal best, and he has since taken 14 more off of that to his 9:05. He's really stretching this thing out as his teammate Pasek has overtaken second. And coming up to the final kilometer, 6:17. So we open it around a 2:52 high. If he closes in a 2:52 high, then he'll break 9:10. He's never done that indoors, but he has made it crystal clear that that is his objective. Less than 900 meters and 4.5 laps remain. For again, a guy who, in focusing on himself throughout the cross-country season, found such a great deal of consistency to go along with that. Despite getting outkicked by Colony's Owen Conley, a 154-800 runner at multiple league and sectional races, he did not let that do him in. He finished top 3 at States, up from 17th in 23, and then went on to NXN to challenge Ryan Sykes at the regionals meet. And even at NXN, I remember seeing via a fancy social media site known as Facebook that his big goal was to get in the top 50. Where did Thomas finish? Right at 5-0. So he is really made a great start to his junior season. Cannot be emphasized enough. And he's trying to continue that here in the indoor season, despite some time off, despite some rough rust busters to start the season. He has made it clear that he has still got plenty left to improve upon. That high ceiling has yet to be found. Could he push that ceiling in this final 400? 8:01. That was his split with 400 meters remaining. We've only had one sub-9 in the country, in fact 2 en route to a 9+2 mile race at the VA Showcase that we saw last week between Aiden Monastery from Parkview Baptist out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Corbin Coombs from Organ Mountain in New Mexico. That was a thrilling race, but other than them, nobody else has broken 9 flat, and the U.S. number 3 time is held by Jack Anstrom of Seaforth, North Carolina at 9:05.23. Thomas Isanovsky takes the bell at around 8:36.37 with a chance to go 9:10 sub for the first time indoors. The Mazzeo twins running in second and third with Pasek in fourth. But this is the Thomas Isanovsky show with less than 100 meters to go. He is well on sub 9:10 pace. He hit it at 8:52 into the final half lap and into his final short straightaway. Thomas Isanovsky, he is back and below 9:10. 10-second indoor personal best. What a return. (9:09.70), the 7th fastest time in the country in a New York number 1 by 10 seconds. Incredible. Thomas Isanovsky, one of the many Saratogians who I like to bring up this story a lot because almost every time I get the chance to talk to them in a heart-to-heart conversation post-meet, one of the names they bring up is Aiden Tooker, right? Who is Aiden Tooker? But a former Syracuse University Division I standout who could say he's done all sorts of things from a time perspective, a sub-4 miler, and the facility record holder over 3,200 meters here at Ocean Breeze. He's run as quickly as 8:54.22 in this building. But those are the names that the current Togians and the future Togians want to be like. And as far as Section 2, where the Toga boys come from, there is a fancy all-time list on a website called Section 2 Harrier that allows us to see the historical breakdown of each and every performance that makes it onto the top time lists. As for that 9:09.70 that Thomas Isanovsky just threw down, that is now the 8th fastest in Section 2 indoor history. Mazzeo, personal bests for the twins in 9:12 and 9:13. Those should place them pretty highly in the PA state rankings. And then Darren Pasek in 4th. It was that top 4 that really made the race what it was In fact, Teddy Hodglow rallied for fourth, passing in fifth. Still an indoor PR for the both of them. Hodglow, first sub 9:30 and 9:16. Pat yourself on the back, young man. Enough about young men. No, this is all about the young ladies in the 3,200 meters. It is their turn to take the stage around the oval 16 times for nearly a total of 2 miles around. We've got a few girls in this race with seeds beneath the 11-minute barrier, which in and of itself is rather rare nationwide. Only 39 girls have gone beneath 11 minutes. So look to see if they can get after that. 36 by Keene Behe, the University of Rhode Island commit from Pilgrim out of West Warwick in the Ocean State. In fact, I believe she's out of regular Warwick. I was thinking of the Ray sisters for West Warwick. Lisa and Xenia, two very talented Rhode Islanders that will be featured this weekend, but Keene Behe showing us that they've got some distance blood in them as well. The Rhode Island contingent. On her shoulder is Lexi Cole from Comsawog. She runs just about a half stride behind, followed by Naomi Douglas in third from Fiorello H. LaGuardia. Now, Cole and Douglas both got to make a very special trip together. I mentioned Izanovsky from Saratoga as having gone to Nike Cross Nationals this past fall. Well, both Lexi Cole and Naomi Douglas got to make that trip to Portland as well as part of the New York individual team. And Cole, at first, we had no idea that she made it as the team standings were being populated. She finished 7th. You need to place top 5 as an individual non-team qualifier to advance to Nike. And she probably had no idea either. But 2 of the individuals that had finished in front of her were from Bethlehem and Shenendehowa, 2 of the teams that advanced, allowing Lexi Cole to make arguably the greatest trip in terms of magnitude, at least, of her young athletics career. She's been part of a lot of great races. I mentioned one of them having been the all-time record-setting steeplechase that we saw at the 2023 state meet between Angelina Napoleon, Carrie Beloga, and Sheridan Wheeler. That saw 3 at the time top U.S. prep times in the 2K steeplechase. Lexi Cole was in that race as just a freshman. So we just crossed over 2:45 on the clock. That would have been the split that they need for a sub 11, and they were well ahead of that through 800 meters. So you have to think that Cole, Behe, and Douglas are really going to push each other to something that they have yet to experience over a distance that Northeastern ladies don't always get to relish in. In 4th place, that is hip number 7, Graceland Laudermilch in the all-black kit. She's joined the top group, having bolstered a seed time of 11:05.93. That's right around her personal best lifetime, so she's also looking for that sub-11 thrill. Per the seedings, only Lexi Cole herself and Keene Behe have got sub 10 to their name.
Lexi Cole comes Wagyu, followed by Keene Behe of Pilgrim High School.
Let's take a look at what Lexi Cole has done over this distance, and we know that she's run well over the steeplechase with all those barriers, but over the 32, she hasn't exactly had as much experience. I believe her time was generated off of a conversion from her 3K PR of 9:56.43. She has broken 11 in the 3200 at 10:54.26 outdoors, but indoors 11:05.42 is the fastest she's gone. So Gonna have to see if she can push that envelope as well as Keene Behe. I first got to witness some of her talents at the Niski Elite 5K Outdoors, a great event in which she was the only Rhode Islander to come over. A 3+ hour drive to hit the Nike/New Balance Nationals 5K standard. She's a very consistent sub-18 5K runner and has plenty of strength to last over the remaining laps of this 32. How many laps that be? But 8. The back half of the race has arrived, ladies and gentlemen, and they were below 5:20, meaning that they are below Cole's top seeded time of 10:40.39. 5:20 is what you need to evenly split a 10:40. And with 4 girls still up in the front, that being Cole, Behe, Douglas, and Loudermilch, they've got a chance to break that. Our U.S. number 1, held by Caroline Barton of the Carolina Day School, the future Princeton Tiger from NC. She's run 10:17.91. It was a polar bear meet technically, so not over an indoor track, but part of the indoor calendar. 10:17.91, the U.S. number 1. Other than her, though, we mentioned the 39 in total, having broken 11 for 3,200 meters. 10:40, that number dwindles to 12. So these girls are on very uncharted pacing right now as far as the season standings go. So not a lot of position changes in the latest stages of this race. We'll see if any more come our way. Now Behe has found a window on the inside. She is your new leader, heading up to the final kilometer, 7:23. So if they close in similar to what they opened in, just like we theorized with Thomas Isanovsky, remember, in the boys' 3,200 meter invitational, he opened in a 2:52 high for his first kilometer and closed right around the same split. And so if they can open in those lower mid 3:10s, then closing in that amount of time should be feasible as well. Graceland Loudermilch starting to lose a little bit of touch. Remember, she's just outside of that sub-11 minute group. Lexi Cole inside of it. Naomi Douglas, let's talk a little bit about her. The first impression that we really got to see her make was that 4:37 1500 again. Like I mentioned often, at the Eddie meet in Schenectady back in May, upstate. And since then, she's proven that she's got plenty of range in her game as well. We know she went to NXN with Lexi Cole, the PSAL city champion. Whole lot of accolades to her name, and she's looking for a fast time to go along with it. She's been placed in some very fast races. Bishop Laughlin Games, we saw her take second in her first official sub-5 mile behind Anna Bacchius of Padua, another very talented junior from Wilmington, Delaware, who's spent a lot of the season towards the top of the leaderboards over the 2-mile distance range as well. Keene Behe, what more can we say about her, the Rhode Island state champion? She's been running quite a few different distances as well. She broke sub-5 for the first time indoors at Milrose Trials, so she's here to say to Douglas and Cole, whatever you have, I can do also. 9:24 into the last 400 meters. They open in 75. Again, that open and close. Trying to spread that peanut butter evenly throughout the race. That's what Keene Behe has made it crystal clear that she wants to do to the 2 juniors behind her. She is ever so steadily winding up the pace. You could tell she's picking it up by the lengthening of her stride. the senior from Pilgrim in the white kit from Rhode Island. Bound for Rhodey, baby. Keene Behe into the penultimate home straightaway. Breaking away from the New Yorkers. Bobbing that head into the bell. 10:02. Douglas moves up into second. She's definitely seized some momentum from Cole in that move, but Lexi is working off of her. This is what the New Yorkers have to do if they want to get back to their Rhode Island rival. Keene Behe still with plenty of juice left, but here comes Lexi Cole. Long Island trying to take it to Rhode Island. Cole looking for room on the inside now, as that's where she was initially passed up. Looking for some revenge in the home straightaway. Behe still in front. Cole to the line. Lexi Cole, did she get the lean? Keene Behe gave her everything she had. Wasn't enough. Douglas will be your third place finisher, and it is confirmed a Lexi Cole victory in a photo finish, coming down to 7 thousandths of a second. 10:36.76 will now tie them for U.S. number 9. 2 athletes in one race becoming top 10 nationwide, but I'd say the race itself was the most impressive feat. We knew they'd have those kicks saved up, going 5:16.17 in the back mile. But Lexi Cole, Keene Behe made the brave move from 400 out to start her kick. Then Cole allowed herself to stay reserved,